Hey there, welcome to Hermit Haven. I'm Ashley.
And I'm Jackie. We're so excited to invite you into our safe space. Hermit Haven is like a cozy little hideout where we can celebrate being confident in ourselves as we find happiness in quiet moments.
So grab your favorite blanket and your favorite drink, and let's dive into today's episode.
Hi, I'm Jackie. Welcome back to Hermit Haven.
Hi, I'm Ashley, and we're excited to have you. This week, we're going to talk about mental health.
Yay! I'm
Yay.
excited. I feel like I say I'm excited for like every single episode. Like, I'm so excited for this one, but like I truly feel like this episode like is like my entire I mean, more than just the past year, but like my entire past year is like this episode. Is like the things that I did to get where I am when I was like in a not good place this time last year. Because this time last year, I was like basically crying every single day. You remember that? Like, I just was not. I was not okay. And like I had just went through a year of like trauma and grief and stuff. But I just every single day I'd have to be like, Glenn, I'm just not okay. And I eventually,
Okay.
huh?
Which is completely okay.
Yeah, it's okay to not be okay. But I finally started, I'm one of those people that doesn't like to talk about when I'm not okay. And I had to get over that, and it took a little while. But the more, and like we'll get into this, but the more that I communicated, I feel like to Glenn on the days that I wasn't okay and let him know, like, it's not him, I'm just not okay, it made things so much easier here. So, anyway, I feel like mental health is being talked about like way more on social media and just in general. Like, that's not something that people ever used to talk about. And now it's a big topic. And I'm so glad that it's a topic because it needs to be a topic.
Yes, more people are speaking up. It's not like back in the day where like, be like, why are you crying? Stop crying. Like, none of that. None of
Yeah. No. Like, even in my house now, like, I'm like, I don't tell my kids to stop crying. Like, there's obviously a reason that they're crying. Like, I don't know. Everyone's different, but still, like, it's okay to cry. Crying, I've learned in the past year, maybe I'm way behind because I'm 37 just learning about this, but crying is a way to release emotion. It's like a way that your body releases all the built up emotion and whatever's in there. And it helps. That's like a natural way of. So I used to always like stop myself from crying. I was like, no, I don't need to cry. And now I've realized like that's a natural thing. And it's helped me with my kids too, because when they cry, like, I'm like, obviously I try to help them, but like it's a natural way for them to like release emotion and all the pent up, whatever in there. So anyway,
It's the truth though. Crying's good for you.
it is. Um, so yeah, we want to talk about mental health, and because I feel like mental health controls like your entire life. It controls everything. If you want to be successful, you need good mental health. If you want to go towards a goal and achieve it, like you have to have decent mental health. Like anything that you want to do in your life, no matter how big or small, your mental health seriously affects everything. And so if you're just not in like the best mental health place, then it's going to be really hard to get towards, whatever you're trying to go towards, however you're trying to live your life and level up your life.
It controls your days.
Yes, 100%. So I've had to realize like over the past year that I had to like slow down and just prioritize myself, which is really not easy for me to do. I'm very, very much like a let's continue on and like do all the things. And I love achieving and I love doing everything, but I've had to learn to like slow down and prioritize me and take time for me, which it's taken time. Don't think it's going to be something that like tomorrow you're just going to change, just be like, woo, new person. Like everything that we're going to talk about, like it takes time. It takes time of doing it to see the change that we're going to talk about. So if you don't see it right away, it's just because it just takes time. But
It's the work.
I always hear pouring into you first and then into everyone else, because when you're overflowing, right, it's like that vase and you're pouring water or cup and you're just pouring water in it, and then most of the time we just like pour it out because we're like trying to help everyone. But if you just pour it so that it's overflowing the glass, then all of the overflow you can give away while still being full. and it's not like always maybe going to happen that way, but that's what I aim towards, and that's what I've for the most part been able to achieve. So anyway, anything else before we get into how we prioritize our own mental health?
Think we have a lot of things that we want to talk about and like how mental health is like why mental health is important. We're gonna talk about like how we use mental health or we do mental health things and like what suggestions we have. So I feel like we have a good episode on our hands. And I agree, like this is something that like every episode's good. Like literally every episode we do is good. Something we need to talk about. We love talking about. So I'm excited about this one because I feel like this is like the underline of like what we do for everything. So
Almost like this is like the foundation for all the other things, right? Like you're building a house and this is the foundation. You got to have this in place so that you can like do all the other stuff.
I think also mental health, like something about mental health is like we think about like, you go to the gym to like work out all the time and like you're gonna feel great, right? But like what do you do for your mind? Like how do you work out your mind? So I think that's something like super important. Like when I think about that, I'm like, what do I do for my mind? Like it's just, I don't know, it's a great way to think about it.
Absolutely. Yep. And all the things that we're going to talk about are kind of ways that even most people don't think about it, but ways that you're going to exercise your mental health to increase it and be the best version of you. So, okay, so let's get into how we each prioritize our mental health. We kind of each have put down some stuff. So, okay, I'm going to talk about really quick today because today I have not had a like I wouldn't say I had a bad mental health day today. I'm just off, and I do feel like as a woman, I think most people that are watching are women, so like TMI if you're a guy, but right before I start my period, the few days before and like my hormones are shifting, I will start to notice that I have a lot of like more negative thoughts during that time period, and I don't think about it like at first I'm like, "Oh my gosh, Jackie, like why are you like ripping yourself apart?" Like I just a lot of negative thoughts, and then I'll be like, "Oh, I'm supposed to get my period soon." And then I'm like, "Okay, no worries." And then every time I have a bad thought, I'm like, I'm only thinking that because, my hormones. So we'll just push that aside. And it's taken time to be able to like do that part and like easily push it aside. I've practiced that for a long time. So it doesn't come right away. But that's one thing that I would say is if you're having a bad mental health day and you're just thinking all the negative thoughts, like you could also brain dump them and then write like worst possible scenario because most of the time the worst possible scenario like you'll realize it isn't even like that bad. But I just will like take that thought and be like, I'm only thinking this because I'm tired, because I didn't eat enough, because I'm hormonal. There's always a reason, most likely always a reason. So that's one thing. So I tried to really prioritize obviously myself today. So I did wake up before the boys. I did not journal like I normally do. I was so tired when I woke up. I think obviously like hormones. So I did eventually journal though. I do make that a priority basically every day. And sometimes it's short. Like you could do journal prompts. There's all sorts of ways to journal. We could have like a whole podcast episode about that. But I like to free write about just whatever comes to my mind. And a lot of the time, if I'm having bad thoughts, I do write them down. And I'm like, this is what I'm thinking about today. And then I realize like how they're it's not true. Like whatever I'm thinking isn't true. And sometimes I even start to give myself advice, like, Jackie, you know that this isn't true. It's okay. And I write it all down. So I did that today. I made sure to get a walk in today. That is definitely something 1,000,000,000% walking outside specifically that has helped my mental health. I'm usually listening to either a podcast or an audiobook. That's just what I like to do when I'm outside walking. Obviously, listen to music that you love too, but I love listening to something positive and people speaking like life into me. There's also like affirmations you can listen to on YouTube, and so you just pick what you want. But I took a walk today. I took like an hour of creative time. I was texting Ashley. I posted about it on our little Facebook group. I was like, I'm just gonna sit here and have creative time. I was so proud of myself and like decorated my planner and like I had some like calm music on. I had my candle, I lit a candle, and I just sat there and just did some stuff and colored in my little planner. And it was just so much fun. So I'll take time for myself, whatever that means for you. I highly recommend like a creative activity. of some sort. Even if you're not creative, like there's some way that you could be creative, reading, coloring, whatever. Um, another, like I said, I love my walks because movement really helps me so much. And I still was in just this weird place this evening, like all day. I just had to like keep taking my thoughts and being like, no, no, no. So this evening I did a workout, like a gentle workout with some weights, nothing crazy. Um, and that specifically really shifted my mindset. So I don't know if it's just the end of the day or what, or that workout, but that really helped to shift a lot of my negative thoughts away. I was watching like a comfort creator YouTube video doing my workout. And so, anyway, not every day do I get to do like all of the things that I want to do for myself. This is like an ideal day where I have time to do everything, you know? But I will let Glenn know, like, I need like 30 minutes. I need an hour. I'm going to shut the door. Maybe you have to lock the door. I just need some time for me. And a lot of the time that's like in the evening because I'm up by myself with the boys in the morning, and do all this morning stuff alone. And so a lot of the times he'll take over kind of towards the evening. But you just have to like let your person, if you have help, like let your person know that you need that help. And it could just be telling them, like, I'm just having an off day. I'm just letting you know, it has nothing to do with you. Because sometimes men specifically like to, they think they did something wrong. If you're like in a bad mood, but it's not because of him, it's just because I am just having a rough day. And so I like to let him know that if I know I'm having like an off day, just so that if I'm, I don't know, quiet or something and I seem off, I want him to know like it's not you. I'm just having an off day. And he's like, okay. Um, if I can make it out to Disney, Disney's 45 minutes away, but that's probably the ultimate, like going to Disney and walking around outside. I did that last week. That's like one of my ultimate things, but I just love like any of my hobbies, making sourdough, gardening, like something outside is specifically so good for you, even if you're doing like coloring outside or whatever. Just the sunlight and just being outdoors in the fresh air like really helps shift a mood. And I think that that's everything that I have on there.
I love it. I love your list. You're doing
Yeah,
so good for yourself.
yeah. Blocking out time for family specifically too really helps me. Because then I know I feel like I'm like being a good wife, I'm like being a good mom, and like I'm doing the things that I want to do. And that's my story. That's my list.
I feel like I'm like having my own day, like Jackie is. Like I am so exhausted today. So if you catch me like over here yawning, like I am just so exhausted. I don't know if it's just like I've been waking up so early the last few days. I'm not used to it. Obviously, I'm pregnant. Like I'm just beyond exhausted. So I feel like today I really didn't prioritize my mental health as well as I should have. But like I did wake up and I did pray, which is something I've been really trying to strive to do every single day. And I did like my self-care routine, and I feel like that was just like, okay, I did that. Like, and those are things I strive to do every day. Like, I think we talked about this in the routine episode, but like I have like a little checklist and has everything like I would like to do, and most of it's just self-development. Like I love self-development. Even before Jackie and I met, like I was like telling her about this podcast I would listen to, which I love podcasts. Um, I love just like, let's see, listening to audiobooks. I love doing like listen like read my affirmations. I also like saying them in the mirror when I brush my teeth, which is like, how do you say them in the mirror while you brush your teeth? You just do it. Like it just happens. Um, I'm really big about like my skincare routine. Like I said, like that's something I really strive to do every day. It's something like I never really had until I was like in my late 20s and I worked really hard on. So for me, like it's like if like I feel more put together, you know? And if you feel put together, like you feel better about yourself. So some I would say I was a fancy bath taker and then I got pregnant and I haven't really took any baths, but I love a good fancy bath, not just like a regular like pull in the water. Like I want bubbles, I want like bath salts, I want like my little light that does the little stars, like candles. Like give it to me all of it. And I want a book. I have to read a book while I take my bath. Otherwise I get bored. I'm like, okay, this is cool. 5 minutes later, I gotta
I
go.
feel like my bath is not conducive for like sitting and like relaxing in. Maybe I need to get some fancier things to make it.
Literally, but I'm telling you, bring a book. Just don't drop your book in the water. I've done that a few
No.
times.
Sometimes I read on my Kindle on my iPad, so that would be bad if I
Oh my
dropped.
God, that'd be terrible. I have dropped my phone in the water before too. So yeah, don't bring your phone into the bath. Like it's fine. You don't need your phone. Like I'm sure you have like a regular book somewhere around the house. We
Use
keep
your
like
phone for fancy music, but keep it like on the counter.
yeah, I usually play like Disney piano. Like that's like my go-to like bath music.
I like
It,
it.
it's relaxing, so I don't know. I like a good fancy drink and once in a while. I feel like that's good self-care. Like the other night we went out and I got a mocktail and it was so good. I actually have the gentleman was so sweet. He let me make me another one to take home with me. So I have that in my fridge. But like eating something good, like having a good snack, a good treat, like all that's like self-care, I feel like. And then I have a vision board that I like looking at. I look at it multiple times a day, like we've talked about. So that was one of my favorite things. And then I like listening to good music and dancing. Like that's self-care too. Like I caught myself another day where I didn't want to go upstairs because I was just stuck in the same is so good. I have like different okay, I'm like this type of person where I like listen to the same artist for multiple weeks in a row or like multiple months. Like my top artist has literally been the same artist for the last like 4 years, which is Russ. But I've been really getting back into these like thing called big booty mixes, and you're like, what in the world? But it's by this like these two people named Two Friends. That's literally what their group is called. And they're just like DJ mixes. So like it's like they mix like classic, like older music with newer music, and it's just so good. But I'll catch myself just like listening to that and not wanting to do anything and just like have a good time. And I feel like it puts me in a good mood. So, but
Vibe.
yes, I feel like too, like another thing is self-care is like um just taking time to recharge. Like I feel like I would always go, 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 go. And like I never like want to sit still. And I'm like, right, but if I don't recharge, right? And like everyone should be able to recharge, even if it's for a couple hours, but like just to sit down and be like, okay, I'm gonna sit and chill right now. Not gonna do anything. Like it's so important and such good self-care because you can't do everything. You're gonna burn the candle from two ends and you're gonna wonder why you're not feeling good.
Yep.
So, but like I said, my biggest self-care I would say is treat yourself. Love dessert, loved treats. Like okay, if you found me in a bad mood, I'm probably gonna be stuffing ice cream down and being like, I'm okay.
Love
But
you.
yeah, I think some other stuff like we talked about, I think we both talked about this is like how, like you said, having a good support system, having friends, having family. Some people like professional help, like a therapist. So I think, like those are other great forms of self-care that we can do, making time for your friends. Like Jackie has a girls' night coming up, which I'm super excited for her. But making time for your friends, even if it's just like on the phone, like a quick FaceTime, be like, hey, how's your day going? What
Yeah. I
else?
think having a support system is so important, especially when you're in like a really deep like mental place like this time last year when I was like crying every single day. Like I started open I was never the person that would like really open up about how I was feeling to people, but I started to do that. And it was scary. Like it's so scary to be vulnerable to anyone. And so if you feel like you don't have someone, like a professional therapist would be a great person to go to. Is are kind of a neutral person who doesn't know you or anything about you, which I did last year as well. And it was really helpful. But I luckily have like a few friends that I feel like I can tell like some of the thoughts that were coming out of my brain that I felt like people would judge me for, but it was just my mental health and just where my mind was going. I found out through my therapist a lot of it is connected to how I feel about myself, and it was just manifesting in like other ways. Um, so I've been working on my self love, and no one's perfect, and I'm still not in a perfect place, but definitely having people that you feel like you can talk to, or a journal. If you feel like you can't talk to anyone, you need to get it out, write it down. But yeah, the support system piece of it, and just like letting your partner know, like, you don't have to. I didn't tell Glenn like a lot of the things I was thinking, honestly. Like, I know he's my husband, but there's just some things where I was like, I, they were like dark thoughts. And so I just would let him know, like I said before, today's just a day. So I love you and I'm going to be okay. or I'm not, and like I need some help. He's the one that actually set me up with the therapist last year. Like he went online and found me a place that I could look for a therapist for through because I just, yeah. So have yourself a support system.
Yeah, and it's
It's
okay.
important.
It's okay if you don't have a support system. It might just be like who you are as a person. Like, I know, yeah, I can reach out to like Jackie or could talk to my boyfriend, or if I need professional help, I can get professional help. But like, I'm the type of person where in reality, I don't want that. Like, I want to figure it out on my own. Like, I don't feel successful in my mental health without like me figuring it out how to get to where I need to be. And like, I figured this out when I basically like we'll talk about this more in like our one of our grief episodes, but when my best friend Miriam passed away, I didn't really feel like I had anyone supporting me. Didn't feel like there was anyone there for me. And I basically felt like I was like in a hole and had to like dig myself out. And I found the ways to do that. And I found like podcasts. I found all these things that like help me become a better person, like certain songs. Like I love music, like relate to music. And so, and then when Bubby passed away, I knew I was doing all the things that I need to do, but my Matt wanted me to talk to professional help, and I did. I had like four little mini sessions, and even the lady I was talking to was like, "You're doing everything you're supposed to be doing, though. Like you really are. Like you can keep getting professional help if that's what you want, but like in reality, you are doing everything you should be doing to take care of yourself." And it kind of made me feel better because I always felt like everyone was like, "Oh, you need help, you need this," but like I've always strived on yes, I can have a support system, but if I don't do it myself, then I will never feel like I'm successful in my mental
Yeah.
health.
And the therapist, like when I talked to the therapist, like she also said like similar, like I was already journaling, I was already doing all sorts of things. It was just more there for like support. But I I I think that, and I'm not a therapist, but I'm just assuming that therapists want you to help you find the tools to help yourself. And so, that's why we're talking about this episode is like the tools that you can use to help yourself, because if you just push it away, then it's always going to be there, but you can work through, and I know not every day is going to be like a deep like grief moment, but like even on a day where I'm just having like some random bad thoughts, like the things that we're talking about are what I do to get out of it. And it was helpful back last year for both of us when we were going through some really hard stuff too. So,
I
yeah.
think I think too it's like your outlook. Like we are saying, making time for your friends, making time for yourself, like really like trying to get out of this like place that you're in. Like, yes, it's not going to happen overnight, but you have to do the things and you need to try different things. To in this season of life, maybe journaling is what Jackie is doing, right? But the next season in life might be she needs journaling plus more mental health walks, right? Like every season of life is going to look different. So again, prioritizing, what you need in each season. Um, maybe like going to classes or like going places where you can meet new people that are like-minded, right? Getting yourself out of that like what you're feeling almost. I think another thing is like taking care of yourself is like let's say you have like your shoes are holy, like getting yourself new shoes, like making yourself a priority even on the hard days. And I think something like I even struggle with is like making sure I make all those doctor's appointments, going to the dentist is like you are a priority. Like if you start taking care of yourself, even if you're having great mental health, like even if you take care of yourself, your mental health is just gonna get better and better and better.
Yeah. And I think like bringing it back to vision boards, I mean, this could even be like a habit tracker or just like a list. Like maybe you have a list somewhere. I saw someone doing like a list, like a dopamine menu is what they called it, and it was like all the things that made them feel really good. But, doing small things like your skincare routine, like you said, like brushing your teeth, just like small, like these are all self-care. I know that it seems like a mundane thing that like we all do, but like these are things that we're prioritizing ourselves, working out, or like you said, going to the doctor. Like these are all things that we're doing to prioritize us. And when we feel like we're taking care of ourselves, we are happier. Like you will be happier, I promise you, if you like take care of yourself the way that you need to. and slow down. And I know that we all say like we don't have time, and that's great. I know we're all busy, but you have to at some point say which is more important. I know you have to probably go to work, right? You have to cook for the kids or whatever, like, but there's times in your day when you can wake up a little bit earlier or fit it in somewhere, even if it's 5, 10 minutes. You can fit these things in instead of scrolling or instead of watching a TV show. I know people love their TV shows, and I'm not trying to knock it. I'm not a huge TV person, but like there are ways to fit this stuff in, and make yourself a priority. And that's kind of the end of it is like if like you have to be the priority. You have to prioritize in your life what you want to be a priority, and that it should be you. So I don't
Yeah,
know
and
if
I
that makes
agree. Like it could be, doing your laundry and playing a self-development in the background, or it could be getting ready instead of playing music, play affirmations, play self-development, or in the car, listen to a podcast, right? I think something too, Jackie hasn't said it yet, but Jackie, I'm really proud of Jackie. She spent the last year like figuring out what foods is good for her body. She prioritized her health. She prioritized what's going in her body. And I think that's something that like is amazing because so many of us just want to eat what's comfortable and cozy, but she found her new comfy and cozy, and she found what like is good for her body. And I think that's another way of prioritizing yourself is being mindful. And I think that's what mental health is also about. It's not being in survival mode, it's being mindful, it's being intentional.
Yep. Intentional, my word. Yeah. One other like super random thing that I thought I typed it up while we were talking, but and I don't know if this is just a me thing, but I tend to get very overstimulated. And when I get overstimulated, I get really frustrated. I feel out of control and my mindset isn't the best. And it can happen from noise. It can happen just from like the boys playing and the TV being on at the same time. Like it happens sometimes when I go to swim school with the boys, like because there's just like people talking. Like it's just I never really noticed it until this past year. So I have my headphones with me a lot of the time. And if I feel like I'm getting really frustrated and the boys are trying to ask me things and I'm just like ready to snap because, and most of it is like noise related, or maybe I'm just having whatever, a day, I put my headphones in, both of them, put both of them in and put on some soft, like calm music. And it just takes like a few minutes. I don't need it on for like an hour. Like just maybe even 5 minutes. Like it usually is just that short of time. It just kind of like somehow resets my mind. Something it does something, and it just I can like literally feel like the weight is lifted, and it just like calms me down for a moment. And I know this could be very niche, and maybe I'm like the only one that needs to do this, but it is it is immensely helpful. And I told Glenn the other day, and like I'm not trying to compare myself to like someone that has actual like medical things, but like a lot of kids with like autism have the headphones that block out noise. I'm like, I totally understand. Like, I mean, I can't totally understand, but you know what I mean? Like, I'm like the noise, it's the noise everywhere. And
Fascinating.
it's it's crazy. It really makes you like overstimulated. I don't know. It's just a
That's what
random
you
thing.
have to do to prioritize your mental health. That's what you
Yeah.
have to do. You don't need
Yeah.
to be like, I don't know if anyone else does this or not. Like, that's what you got to do. You got to do it.
Sometimes I like I feel like I don't know. I don't know. Sometimes I tell Glenn, he's just like, because he's an extrovert and I'm an introvert, and I don't even know if that has anything to do with it, but I just sometimes feel a little nuts because I'm like, why is the noise like physically making me angry? Like it's just TV and just like kids laughing and playing. It's not even like they're not whining, that'd be different. So I don't understand it, but it must be something in my brain. And that's how, in conclusion, that's how I prioritize my mental health
That's
with
okay.
it.
So another thing we want to talk about is like how do you prioritize your mental health on a busier day? Because let's be honest, not every day is perfect and you don't have the time to do all 50 things of self-development you probably want to do. Because if you know us, we do love our self-development and we could probably spend all day just sitting there, putting on some good music and like just going through it. But I feel like on the busier days for me, like I just like today. Today was one of those days where I was just like go, 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 go. And the time I did have was the only time I had was I needed a nap. Like that's another thing too. Like I didn't know if I said this earlier, but like naps reset me. Naps are like my best friend. Like before I was even pregnant, I would take like 15-minute naps. Like just part of like I need for my mental health as a nap. So it's so funny because my parents tell me as a kid I never napped. So I wonder if that's just like anywho.
I napped all the time, even like into like high school. Like I would nap all the time. I don't know if that's a good or bad thing, though, but I slept a lot as a child. So
Hey, we're all different.
yeah, I know.
But
Yeah, I think just like thinking of the normal things that you do, but in like bite-sized pieces.
yeah.
Like, I love going for a walk. Maybe I don't have time for a 20, 25-minute walk. So maybe it's only going to be a walk around like right here and around my house, and it's like 5 minutes. So maybe I do a 5-minute walk, or maybe I journal like 2 sentences. Still journaling. It's just like less, you know? Maybe you just say, sometimes when I'm laying in bed, when I wake up in the morning, but I don't feel like getting up yet, I will say 10 things I'm grateful for or talk to God, like, and just do a prayer, but just like laying there. And that could be it. Um, I am a much nicer human when I'm up before my children. So I try my hardest to get at least like 5 minutes, even if I'm just sitting there like staring into the abyss and it's dark and I'm just like snuggle on the couch, like, but it's just the silence.
Hmm.
So just, and I know Ashley does her skincare routine, and I'm assuming it's like not super duper involved. I don't know what you do for your skincare routine, but like just something short that just makes you feel like you did something for yourself.
Yeah, I feel like too, like it's just simple things. Like it just might sound silly because we all brush our teeth, but like literally just like waking up, taking 2 minutes to brush your teeth, be mindful. I mean, like I said, do self-care, which it takes me under 5 minutes, not even 5 minutes. Like I feel like I do it in like 2, 3 minutes, but like I've been doing it for so long. It's the same
Yeah.
thing, you know? I feel like too, like I said, pray, like just I feel like it's like being intentional, like you're thankful for the day. I feel like too,
Yeah.
that's my Jewish heritage. Like I just think about like the little preschool songs that we used to sing as a kid. Oh, every morning when I'm for sleeping. Anyhow, I think too, like if you have time, like do easy self-development. Like maybe it's not journaling, right? But it's doing affirmations, right? It could be even the affirmations you come up with. It could be like, I am sunshine. I am gonna have a great day. Today is amazing. Wow, I just said 3 affirmations in less than 5 seconds,
Yeah.
right? I think looking at your vision board, it's so simple, so easy. Maybe it's not one of those days where you have the time to concentrate and be like, I'm gonna become a millionaire. But you just look at it and you're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do this. Like it's the easy little stuff. Something too, like I said, like you might have a busy day, but you have time to listen. So maybe stick on some affirmations. Stick like I have a self-development playlist on YouTube. I talk about this all the time, but like literally when I'm having one of those days where I'm just busy and I'm going, but I have time to listen, I'll just put that on. Or like today was I had 40 minutes in the car, so I listened to Harry Potter. Like it made me feel good, even though it's not an actual self-development task. It made me feel good. I was like,
But
oh,
that prioritizes you and like something that you needed.
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
No doubt. Yeah, we both love podcasts. So we wrote down some of our favorite podcasts, and I really want to share them. uh, I feel like my all-time favorite podcast I've been listening to for, I don't know, close to 10 years is the Ed Milet podcast. I think he's the only male. Well, I listen to others, but like he's the only one that I like really listen to over and over again. He has a lot of like very like different episodes. Some of the, and I saw what I tend to do if I'm in like a weird, I don't know, mental place is I'll look for one kind of based on how I'm feeling and then pick one from there. But the Ed Milet podcast is like my all-time favorite. I've been listening to the Transform podcast. It's two girls. One of them is like a personal trainer, but they're like in business together. They're very like if you need someone that talks like soft and like just I don't know, that kind of like cozy, like slow, but it's all self-development based like vibe. The Transform podcast, I love that one. Recently, I started listening to this girl. I was telling Ashley about her yesterday. I found her like 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I've been binging her podcast. It's called Haliness. like HALEYNESS. Her name is Haley Cordova. She's young. She's like 20 something, but um, which I feel like that's weird to, sorry, that was like really weird to say out loud. Like she's 20 something and she's young. But I don't know, I'm in my 30s. Anyway, so she does all sorts of it's self-development-y, but she's also a personal trainer. But she talks a lot about mindset and just the way that she articulates things, I think is so fun. Just like I don't know, just the way that she explains things and like phrases how that she uses to describe what she's talking about. She's really fun to listen to. So highly recommend. Those are my top like three right now that I listen to.
So I listen to self-development, business, like I listen to a lot of different varieties of podcasts. But the ones I wrote down are more self-development just because I feel like that's what we're talking about almost.
Yeah.
But like I said, I listen to so many and these are just like the ones I like can tell you off the top of my head. But like I said, like I listen to so many podcasts and I don't know if it's just me, but like I think it's like a game when I listen to podcasts and I like will go to the latest episodes and I'll just like randomly pick and add those to my queue. And so like my queue could be from like literally I have episodes from like January 2023 because I'm still going through my queue.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's super fun. But I picked, so the first podcast I'm going to talk about is literally what saved me when I was at my lowest in my life, which is Unfuck Your Brain. That's what it is. Like, so watch it first, but literally that's what it's called.
Yeah.
But I absolutely love her. She, like I said, she has got me through my lowest point in my life. So she's like my top podcast. Like, recommend her for anyone starting like podcast self-development. I think her episodes are really fun too. They're not like, I feel like sometimes you listen to like a podcast and you're like, oh, is this episode ever gonna end? Like, you're just like, it's so long. And like, maybe it's just my brain. Like, I'm just not connecting, but like, I always connect to hers. Another one I like is School of Greatness, which they do like mini episodes too. So if you can't listen to the whole episode, they have a minier episode. Another
Ooh.
one that's really, it's like super small, super short. I think they're like 5 to 10 minute episodes. It's called The Daily Boost, and they talk about like the most randomest ideas. But like, I love it. It's just like this gentleman, I think he's probably like in his late 50s, 40s, like super cool. And then another one is actually when we did network marketing, one of the top distributors, he has a podcast. I would say it's a little bit more business, but there's a lot of self-development in there too. And it's called the Help Made Millionaire podcast. And I love it. Every time I hear his voice come on, I'm like, oh, it's him. Let's go. Let's
I just
go.
followed this. I just followed what is her name? The Unfuck Your Brain one. Anyway, I just followed her on my podcast app.
I'm having a blank. My brain is mush. Like I can tell you some people's names. There's other people, like I said, like I listen to Trent Shelton, which is really popular.
Oh,
Um,
Kara. Oh my gosh, I don't know how to say her last name. Anyway, I just followed her. So
she's
there's that.
awesome. Like I
Yeah.
said, she does too, like the Unfuck Your Brain lady. She does like little like self-development type of groups too, like classes you can sign up for. It's super cute.
Yeah. I just like listening. Like I'll put one headphone in, like when I'm around the house, and just listen while I'm cleaning or listen while I'm doing whatever. Like I just really enjoy when I'm walking. I just usually have one headphone in so I could hear what's going on around me, but I feel so much more productive. And I know we were talking earlier about having that support system, and Ashley and I were both talking about this when we were creating this episode. A lot of the time when you are going towards a new goal, your friends probably won't be on the same goal as you. Like a lot of your friends, if any of them, probably will not have that same goal, whatever it is. More like I don't know, like weight loss or creating a bigger income or trying to change your life or reading more, like a lot of the times, and that's okay. But we have found like our mentors or like our support people are these people that we listen to, like these podcasts or YouTube videos. Like we've found the people that are doing the things. And so we just kind of like deep dive and just continue to like put ourselves around them by listening to them. And that's our support system right there. So,
It could be music too. Like I keep saying this, but I will say this over and over. So my top artist is Russ, and the way Matt describes him is motivational rap. Like, and he writes books too. Like our bathroom book is Russ. Like, and so like you might not be a person that wants to sit and listen to a podcast. You might not be a person that wants to sit and listen to a book. Trust me, I listen to a lot of books. Like while a lot of the books we're going to be listening to in book club are actually some of my favorite books I listen to every single year because they're so powerful and they're so good. But you might just be a person that wants some good music. Like find those artists that you relate to, or find that song that gets you through the hardest times. Like when Bubby was sick, there was this one song from the Spider-Man soundtrack, and I literally listened to it like 80 times in a row. Like it's just what got me through the hard days. Or when I was at my lowest point after Miriam, there was an artist named Gashi. I love rap music. We'll just put that out there. But he had this one song that was like, he's like, forget the old days, like the old days are gone. And I'm like, yeah, yeah. Like it set me up. Like he made me
Yeah.
feel heard though. Like sometimes
Yeah.
you're not feeling heard. And so sometimes when you find that song that makes you feel heard, you're like,
Yeah.
yes, pump me up.
So wait, the artist is Rust?
Yeah.
Like,
Russ, Russ.
oh, Russ with an SS. Hold on. I'm trying to find them. I'm trying to do this while we talk. Is that him?
Yes.
Okay.
I am obsessed with Russ. Literally, he's been my top artist for like 5 years. And
Just followed him.
he has books too. Like his books are amazing, but what's really cool too, like if you read his first book, it talks about his story, which is super important too. Like it's not just listening to self-development books. Sometimes reading other people's stories can show you like how far this person has come, right? But like he talks about his story, how he and his friend just want to make rap music. And he was an underground rapper in Atlanta for years on years. And he started like rapping at festivals basically and starting to get like known that way. And yeah, and that's how I figured out who he was. Like before he even like became like big, I feel like now he's a little bit bigger than he was like when I first saw him. But like that's how I figured out who he was. I saw him at a festival. So
Yeah.
I guess to being open, like being open to learn, being open to hear new music, being open to like new podcasts, being open to new books. Like I think that's
Yeah.
another part of self-development is like being willing to grow. Like I always go back to this example of like what we learned in like sixth, seventh grade, whatever it was, about books, how there's two types of characters. There's their flat character, and then there's their round character, which is technically a static character. And your flat character is someone in the book that never changes. Like you know from point A to B, they're going to be the same exact person. But then you have your static character, and they're always developing, they're always changing, they're becoming another person. Be that static character. Be willing to be open to prioritizing your mental health, doing the
Yeah.
self-development. And again, it doesn't have to be self-development. I know that's like where Jackie and I like strive, and that's why we talk about it a lot. But like I said, it could be having a dance party, baking cookies. Like it
Yep.
doesn't, it doesn't have to be something like as mentally challenging. It's just taking care of yourself, which is so important. Like instead of like it's like waking up and instead of sitting in bed and be like, I'm gonna doom scroll and then be like, oh man, I don't have time to take a shower. Prioritize that shower. That shower is way more important than that doom scrolling.
Yeah. But I will say that like learning is really what helps you grow. So whether that's learning through a podcast, learning through a book, like learning through something, um, that's really where you're gonna get more ideas and be around, the people that are gonna just help teach you and I don't know, get whatever, grow more. So yeah, but you do have to have like that open like growth mindset. Otherwise, you're just gonna stay the same. And we weren't put on this earth to stay the same. We were put on this earth to grow and change in the best way.
I think too, like you never know by showing up and listening and learning what you need to hear. Like it might have been something exactly what you need to hear, and you have never known that if you didn't show up. Like how many times, like that's why I love doing podcasts, like randomly adding podcasts to my queue. Because if I sat there and like actually read all the titles, I'd be like, oh, I don't know if I want to listen to that. I don't know if I want to hear that. But then I add stuff to my podcast queue, and I'm like, wait, say that again? Oh
Yeah,
my goodness.
you're not judging it as much.
Yeah.
Yeah. Something that I will say also, and I think this kind of relates, to something that I think about often is like in as a mom, or I think there's like a lot of talk on social media about like you have to love yourself, right? And I agree, you should love yourself. But I don't think loving yourself means staying the same. You can love yourself right now. Like I loved myself this time last year when I was in a very bad low place. I still loved myself. I was 20 pounds heavier. I was very sad all the time. I still loved myself in that place. I just couldn't stay there. And so even though I'm in a very good place right now, I love myself right now, but I have more goals. And so it's okay to, at the same time, love yourself, but also want to grow and change and have a be a better you. Like it's okay. I feel like there's maybe it's just my algorithm, but I just feel like there's so much talk about like you should just love yourself. But those are people that are staying in the same spot. Those aren't people that are changing. Yes, love yourself, but grow.
Love yourself in every season and accept whatever season you are in. I think that's the hard part too, is accepting the season you're in. Like so many of us are like, oh, but I liked last season. Why do I have to go into this new season where I have maybe a new job or like a new life change or something dramatic happen, whatever it is. And you're like, why do I have to experience this season? I like that season so much. So then you live in the past, right?
Yeah.
Loving yourself and prioritizing your mental health, it means that you're accepting whatever season you are. Hello, I'm pregnant. This was not like a planned thing here. Like it just happened, right? And I'm very grateful and I'm very blessed. But like, let me tell you, the first couple weeks, I remember texting Jackie and be like having all these like really bad mental thoughts, right? But I loved myself enough to know that this was just a season. I'm gonna get through it. I'm gonna be grateful for the next season. It's gonna be different, right? This is 9 months of this season, but the next season's even different. But I have to continue to love myself and prioritize myself. And that's something like I've been saying a lot is like, right? Like I haven't been doing everything for my mental health that I can be doing. So really taking time to be more mindful to do the more stuff that I can do. Because in the
Yeah.
next season, I'm going to be thankful that I did all the work this season. And then in the next season, I'm going to do more work. And then the next season, I'm going to be even more grateful that I did all this work.
Yeah. It's just like starting to form those little habits, even like if we said if you don't have a lot of time, just starting to just make it happen. I follow this girl on social media and she had this huge weight loss. And she was like, some days I would just drive to the gym, but not actually go in. And people were like, what is the point of that? You're obviously not going to lose weight. And she's like, I just needed to be consistent. I just needed to show up. So maybe I just sit in front of my journal, have it out. Maybe I don't journal like I will, but like maybe if you're starting out, like you just have it like and eventually you start to write in it and then but with anything like that goes to anything, so it's just like showing up and just being consistent even if you barely do anything like
Yeah, no, I agree. I feel like too, it's setting yourself up for success. So trying different ways to get to your goal. So like I remember, like I said, like I started doing skincare, like really taking my skincare serious in like my mid 20s probably. You know what I did to do that? I literally did the research, bought the products, put them on my counter. Let me tell you how many days in a row did I actually do my skincare? Probably like one, right? But I saw it every single day in my counter in the exact order I'm supposed to do it until I just started being like, okay, let me do this. Let me just do that, right? Like it's finding a method for it to work. And
yeah
or it's like, I don't know, like we'll talk about this in like our next cozy book club book, just hints, I guess. But the book that we'll eventually read, it talks a lot about saying how I'm going to do this and then I'm going to do that. I'm going to do this and then I'm going to do that. So, like telling yourself over and over again, I'm going to do this now and then I'm going to do that. Right. And if you don't do it, it's okay. It's preparing your brain to do it. And
yeah
something actually says in the Jewish Torah, this isn't a Jewish class or anything, but they say that like to actually like do an action, there's 3 steps. Like you have to first think about it, you have to like start doing the movement and then actually do it. So it's even that's something like we're taught in like our basic Torah that like it's not something that just happens overnight. It's something that happens because you thought about it, you started doing the movement, and then you actually did it.
yeah Habits take time to form. And once you start doing it a little bit, eventually you're like, oh, I could do a little bit more. I could go on a 10-minute walk instead of a 5-minute walk. And then you start doing more and more, and it just becomes
Yeah.
something that really changes your life. And all of these things, we were talking about this yesterday, Ashley and I, but all of these things help you not just to feel great, but when something does come up, like your hormones shift and you just automatically like you just all of a sudden have weird thoughts or some kind of major thing happens or whatever, if you have these in place, it's like obviously grief is a completely different thing, but like your confidence is higher. And so you can, I want to use the word bounce back. I know we were talking about something else yesterday, but that's what I always feel is I feel like I can bounce back. Like I feel like I can take that moment and like get through it faster because I've been doing all of these things and building up
Yeah.
this routine. And I've noticed that. I noticed it during Christmas. I usually always have a lot of anxiety, especially the day after Christmas, because I've been going, 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 and Christmas is like an all-day event for us. And I'm always like I mean, obviously exhausted, but just like I have anxiety the day out. And I never understood why. And this year I did not have that. But I had been prioritizing myself every single day in some sort of way. And I will say it's life changing. It changed my life. I was flabbergasted, like that I could do that.
And I feel like too, even like you're talking about, like, I feel like too, even can prepare you for like any situation. Like, yeah, grieving's like something like you're not gonna know what's gonna happen, right? But let's say you have a job interview, right? If you're doing like the self-care, the mental health, like you're gonna walk into the job interview like you own the place. Like you're gonna be like, ah, psh, I got this, like, right? But like if you're
Yeah.
not taking care of yourself, you're not prioritizing yourself. Sorry, I'm so tired. Words are hard. But if you're not doing those kind of things, like you're never gonna like be in control of situations. You're not gonna feel good about a situation. You're gonna be overwhelmed, over emotional too. Like I feel like too, when you're prioritizing yourself and you're taking care of yourself, your emotions are intact. Like even when you have a bad day, you need to go cry about it. That's okay, right? But you're not like, oh my God, that person said this, and you're flipping out. Why did they say that? Right? You have control over yourself in a way that you've never had control.
Yeah, it doesn't bring you down for like an entire week like it used to do to me. Like you would think about it over and over again. Yeah, I care like I obviously care, but I care less about what other people think where I never thought that I could. And a lot of it has to do with me transforming like my mental health and my confidence. And your mental health like helps you transform your confidence. It helps you be more confident. You're less likely to like be judgmental about others. Like you're less likely to care what everyone else is doing because you're happy and you're doing your thing and you're vibing and you're just taking care of yourself. And so like while you do care about other people, you really just don't care what's going on because you're just in a great place, you know? Like
Bro.
yeah, all the people like the internet trolls or whatever, those people are not taking care of their mental health. I tell you right now, there's no way that they are, saying the things that they say because if they had a good mental health, they wouldn't care. I see something and I'm like, oh, I don't agree with that. Scroll because I have great mental health. Like we're able to do that. But a lot of people in this world, they just don't prioritize that. And so therefore, they're just like going down the rabbit hole in their brain of all the negative things, not taking care of themselves. It's like manifesting bad stuff. And then they just have to release it somehow. And that's how they do it. So, anyway, it just helps you be a happy person.
Yeah, I mean, it's so funny when you say about internet trolls because I just think about like all those moms that post these videos and then parents are like all the commenters are like, you can't do that. You're not allowed to do that. Didn't have this, that, and the third. I'm like, why? Like, do you not take care of yourself to like, why do you think you have to comment that? Like, it's like they don't take care of themselves, like you said.
Yeah.
And so they're,
Yeah.
but that's what happens, right? Or like that person at work is like always judging you, and you're like, why are you judging me? It's because they don't have anything better to do because they don't know, like when you don't take care of yourself, you're too busy worrying about everybody else. You're worrying about every other thing.
They could be listening to a podcast, they could be journaling, they could be coloring, they could be gardening, they could be doing so many other things, but they're sitting there on, their phone, like, yeah, because they aren't taking care of themselves. They're not doing anything for themselves. So anyway, Ashley yesterday mentioned about boundaries, and I wanted to definitely mention that because I agree so much. She said that your boundaries will be stronger when you have good mental health. And it's true because your confidence is higher and you're just like upholding the boundaries that you set. And that is so important, I feel like.
I think too, like something I always tell children, and I feel like this is just like anyone can hear this, but like you shower for yourself. Someone doesn't shower for you. You go to the bathroom for yourself. Someone doesn't go to the bathroom for you, right? So why do you need other people to do things for you, right? You don't need other people in a sense. Like you're prioritizing yourself first because you have to do all these things for yourself, right? And I think that's like so important is like taking care of yourself and realizing that no one else is going to do it for you. No one else is going to come show up and take your shower, drink your coffee, eat your breakfast. No one else is going to do that but you. And so when you show up and you start doing those things, you're going to level up, right? Your love life, your finances, your friends, your hobbies, your
Your
confidence, like
sleep.
yeah, your sleep. Oh my gosh, your sleep is a whole other thing. You're not going to be sitting there at night being like, why did person A say this? Why did person B say that? Or do can I afford tomorrow? Do I have to do laundry? Oh no. And like that's the thing too, is you're gonna do your chores. You're gonna show up. Let me be honest right now, like I'm not getting my chores done as much as I like to, but I'm just like exhausted and pregnant. I don't know what else to say about it. But like you're gonna show up and do the things, right? You're gonna also feel richer when you do it. Like let's go back to that episode where we talked about like what a rich life is. Like when you've taken care of your mental health, you're taking care of yourself, you're not going to show up and be like, oh, I have to do this. It's going to be like, yeah, I get to do this because I have the ability to do that. Not
Yeah.
everyone has those abilities.
Yeah. Absolutely. Ditto. 100%. Everything in your life gets better, including your relationships. I mean, your relationships with your family, with your kids, with your husband, with your friends. Your relationships will get better, or you'll realize like which ones, need to be there and which ones don't. But, everything will get better. Like your whole life will change when you just take time to keep those boundaries in place and like focus and prioritize yourself. And like we said, like that might mean saying no sometimes to other stuff. Like, I can't do that girls' night this week because I need to make sure that I'm getting my workouts in. I need to make sure that we have our family game night. Like, I need to make sure we have, whatever's going on. I can't overload myself because then what happens when we overload like our schedule? We start taking off the things for us. Oh, I don't have time to work out because I have to do this. I don't have time to journal because I have to do this. I don't have, and we start taking off the things for us. We don't start taking off the things for everyone else, you know?
Yeah.
So,
I think too,
yeah,
it's like, even if you can't do everything, make a top three. Like, what are three things that are going to be prioritizing myself today and bring me joy, right? And again, it could be easy things like putting on your favorite song and dancing in the kitchen for a minute, right? Or it could be, saying like a true, like, I love you, have a good day to your partner, right? Not just be like, okay, bye, right? I
yeah,
think what's in the end of the day, wherever you start, wherever you are, like start with something easy if you need to. You don't need to work your way to the hard stuff. You don't need
could
to
be
go
saying,
through,
I was saying, could be saying three things that you're grateful for.
yeah, could be three things you're grateful for. Like, but you don't need to like go to the gym for an hour and be like, yeah, I prioritize myself. Like, you don't need to do all that. Like,
Unless you like that and you feel great and it gets you away from your kids and that's your you time. Otherwise, yeah,
so we love you
absolutely.
all, and we want to know how you're gonna start. Like, if you're starting today, what are you doing for yourself? Or if this is something you do all the time, you're like, my mental health is a non-negotiable already. We want to know what it is, right? Like, your list is gonna be different than our list.
Yeah. And we have like a whole community on Facebook if you want to go on there. And it's just nice to be able to tell each other what we're doing because sometimes you'll be like, oh, like I would love to be doing that, and so we could share with each other and
Yeah.
level up together.
It's good recommendations, right? And it could be just something simple right in your schedule for the day. How easy is that? Like, this is what I get to do today. How exciting.
Yeah.
So, love life, continue taking care of yourself because remember, no one else is going to show up for you. You are who you are, and you're here to grow because you have a mission in this world and you need to get to your mission somehow.
Yeah. You're unique and amazing just the way that you are. So let's all work on our mental health and have an amazing year. And we're all just going to be completely different people in the best way possible by the end of the year with our mental health.
Exactly. And again, it doesn't have to be self-development. It could be just something simple like playing the guitar. It could be something simple as playing your favorite computer game, right?
Yeah. I saw a girl today, and I'll stop talking after this. She was saying that she started ice skating as an adult, and she like was showing clips, I think of like each month or something, and you could see her progression, and people were just like, "This is so inspiring," because as adults, we don't do stuff like that, and so it could be anything. It could be something like that, but
We love you though. And we will see you next week. We're here every Wednesday having our little conversations, sharing them with you. And we'll see you every 2 weeks for book club. And we're happy that you're here. We're happy that we're growing. And if you really enjoyed this episode, or if you have suggestions, or if you want like a second episode of this, like let us know in the comments. Let us know how we can tailor this podcast towards you.
Yes.
See you next week.
Love you.
Love you. Bye.
Thanks for spending time with us today and being part of our Hermit Haven community.
We hope you enjoyed our cozy chat and are inspired to embrace your inner hermit.
Remember, even in the quiet moments, you're never alone on this journey because we are truly all in this together.
So until next time, stay cozy, stay true to yourself, and keep spreading love wherever you go.
Bye for now.
We'll see you next time.